All right, guys. Well, anybody else? How's everyone doing? Anybody do something amazing this weekend? Well, this is Tuesday. I had to think about what day it is. Let's see. Let me mute this, make sure that's good.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Donna, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, then I
Glad you're
guess
doing.
thank you so much. I saw your post in there, and that's awesome. So thank you. I super appreciate everything you do. Just in case you didn't know, just in case. But okay, guys, well, welcome everyone to the Super EZ's beginners class. I'm going to try to keep the recording part, the part that's live on YouTube, super short and super brief for the purpose of being able to, that other people can watch this and kind of get a really good idea of what to do, how to do it, and how to use the scanner to make money. So tonight, what we're going to be going over specifically is day trading, meaning you only have to check the charts once a day. Evening times are good. When I say evening, I am referring to America. So, after New York close, the market closes at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and most people don't go in there and take a trade anywhere between 5 and 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. So they don't really look for trades until after that. But what we're going to go over tonight is how to use the scanner once a day to kind of go through, figure out a trade that you can take, a really good stop loss method, and a really good take profit method that you can use, again, based off of 20, 30 minutes a day, where you would analyze this information. You could do it either before market closes or after market closes, totally up to you, in terms of if you want to pay the swap fees, or if you have a broker that does not charge swap fees and all that other good stuff. So that's kind of going to be the topic tonight. And then, of course, after I'm done discussing that, if anybody who's actively in the group has questions, comments, concerns, or would like to maybe talk about a trade that they have already taken, like we listened to on that to the beginning of the call, if we don't discuss your losses, and if we can't kind of share them, then you don't get to learn. So everybody wants to celebrate their wins, and it sure does feel really good, right? It feels amazing to go make $1,000 or maybe go make 700 bucks on Tesla. Good job, Derek. But it doesn't matter. Like, if all we do is celebrate the days where we made 18 grand or we hit seven figures or we hit whatever, we're still missing the boat, because it becomes very difficult to duplicate success if you do not analyze your losses and learn how to tweak those, improve those, or figure out what you did wrong, to some extent at least, to continue doing things right. So analyzing your losses is huge. I'm hoping that you guys caught that message, that definitely not hidden message that we played at the before class. So that would be the idea. If you have any questions in terms of trades that you've taken or need help on anything specific, we'll go over that as soon as we get through this strategy. So, for those of you guys who don't know, I am just a coach within Super EZ. We hang out a couple of times a week for scalping, and then we hang out on Tuesday night. We went to the first and third Tuesday of the month, so we kind of switched it up a little bit. So it's not too often, because we will be adding more scalping sessions. So the whole concept is to perfect this strategy or this scanner and use a very fancy trade manager that's currently in beta testing. So I can't really show everything that we have working on that right now, but that's the concept, is going to be to use this scanner, and it's a high volume trading system, on the 1 minute, 5 minute chart, and then have something that manages the trades that you have taken, but manages them in a way that nothing else in the market has seen yet. Manages them in a way that nothing comes close to. So this is the kind of management that will decide. I mean, it can scale you out. It can definitely choose structure based stop losses. It can dynamically, consistently trail your stop in a much different way than just anything that is currently available, as far as I know. So that's the whole concept of what we're doing. But tonight, again, we're going to go over this longer term kind of trading strategy. So for those of you who don't know, obviously everything we discuss in this class is for educational purposes only. Anything you trade, is totally on you, 100%. I am not liable for that. You are still an independent trader. So everything we discuss on this call is for educational purposes only. So as you guys know, kind of compounding is where I stick most of my value. It's what I discuss the most. But tonight, I'm not going to be talking about high risk. Tonight, unlike this morning, I'm not going to be talking about, okay, how do we compound, 10, 20, 30, 40% in an account? I'm going to say, okay, the most that you're going to be doing is, 1 to 3%. And if your accuracy is amazing, you can go up to 5% per trade. But that's the absolute most that we're going to kind of go for in terms of what we're discussing this evening. However, the same rules do apply. So if you guys have access to the spreadsheets that are in the group, you guys can simply change the percentages on those spreadsheets and you can get very similar results. You know that you do need to have trading rules. You kind of know all of this stuff, a trading schedule. And like we just talked about, we can kind of go over when this works and how this will work the best for you. But ultimately, you're just going to be consistently increasing your lot size based off of your account balance each and every trade or week, depending on how you want to do things. So does anybody have any questions in terms of all that so far? Okay, let's stop that share, go to a new share, and go to advanced. Gotcha. Should be the right screen, in theory, always in theory. But I'm gonna have to make it a little bigger to make it kind of user-friendly for you guys. So bear with me for just a second. I still had my screen open from some other trades. As you guys, man, US 30 went up again. NAS is making all-time highs, and it won't quit making all-time highs. It just keeps going up. And German 30 looks like it's getting ready to break out. So, because it's the only one that didn't move this afternoon. So for those of you who trade indices, that's where I'm looking if I'm going to take a trade at all, just so y'all know. But okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, this is the Simplicity Scanner. It looks pretty plain. It looks pretty basic. It definitely does, it doesn't really give you much at all. So what this is it's going to give you a trade alert. It can come to your phone. It can come to your computer. It can just pop up. You can do everything from the 1 minute to the weekly. You can program pretty much any pair you want. And it's kind of awesome. So it's still just a signal system. So just keep that in mind. It's still not a perfect system. There's no way around it, but it will alert you. And we're going to go over kind of how in terms of things that are moving. So this is a reversal based system. Every trade that you get is going to be based off of something turning around, not necessarily going in the same direction, but basically something reversing is how these are calculated, just for kind of informational purposes. But now I'll right click on my chart if it will let me. There we go. Go to experts. And this is just a demo account for kind of trading and teaching purposes. Gotcha. I'm not going to go over all the pairs that I have in here today. I'm just going to kind of keep it super simple and go over the settings. So you guys can program whatever pairs you want. This code, you can't duplicate it because it only works on this account number. So that's not important that y'all see that. You only get one of those once you actually are part of the group or purchase the system through the Super EZ website. The link is in the description of this video. But how I've been using it is a couple different ways. I have yet to perfect the scalping method consistently enough yet. And again, I'm just working on those ATM settings for the trade manager to manage it a little bit quicker than I can physically do as a human. However, using this as a day trading strategy, even in this crazy COVID political climate, we've actually been doing really, really good. So I wasn't going to discuss too much about swing trading because as everyone who works with me knows, I haven't been doing a lot of it, but I was testing this on the day chart. So here's the settings we are using. It's still 5. There's nothing fancy. It's nothing that you guys have not seen before. We haven't changed it. We've played with a few other numbers. Obviously, the higher the number, the less the signals. And again, the higher the number, the less it will repaint, move, or adjust or disappear. So that's a personal decision. The bigger you put this, the more confirmed the move, but also the later the move. The smaller you put this, the less confirmed you're going to get, but you're going to get a whole bunch of them popping off nonstop. And we can discuss how to avoid taking trades that maybe don't go in your favor. So alert system, you guys pretty much know how to use all that. And then currently you guys can see that I have this set up as the daily time frame. Only is the only one I'm getting alerts for on this particular system for this one. And you can save different templates for if you wanted to save one for while you're actively scalping, turn that on, save it, load it, and then you do your scalping. And then when you walk away for the day, let's say you still wanted to monitor 4-hour trades, that sort of thing, that's how that would work. And of course, as Uncle Pete has talked about, when we click on any of these, it will allow you to open it up on the time frame you select, and as well as the template you select. So that's what those two options are. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. And these are just some of the pairs that we were looking at. Quite a few of these I don't trade, I don't play with at all. For my own personal reasons, I just don't love them, or I don't like the way they move, particularly Euro GBP. However, we were testing it just to kind of get an idea of how it's doing, what it's doing, and just how it works. So you can take and pick and choose whatever you guys want in terms of pairs. I definitely don't recommend doing this many pairs, even if you are on the daily time frame. But I'm going to go ahead and close that. It's not going to give us a whole bunch of options. So I already knew that at the close of the day today. So what I will show you on the other hand is what that will look like on the daily time frame. So this is the Easy Pip system that comes with the scanner. And as you guys know, it's very comparable to Simplicity, but it is not the same as Simplicity. It's programmed differently. And all it is just a reversal indicator. It is predictive, which means it can repaint. As with any other, predictive indicator, it has a lot of accuracy. It does not mean it's perfect. It has a lot of accuracy. It does not mean it's bug free. I was reading some in the chat today about that. So just so you know, yes, most of the time, if it repaints, you're going to get an evidence dot most of the time. However, it's still just a computer system. So you kind of got to, there's got to be some give and take. There are no perfect systems. There are no perfect indicators. And for the most part, you're going to get your evidence dot or you're going to get the direction that it's saying it's going. And either way, if you're following any set of rules, you should be doing very, very, very well in terms of how the system works. If you're just taking it because you got some alert without any analysis, without checking structure, without checking, breaks of areas of interest, without checking of any other oscillators or time frames, you're not going to do well on this system or really any system, because you do need rules. Ultimately, you need some kind of trading rules, and any professional trader can kind of any any professional trader can definitely tell you the same thing. So sorry, some random person is blowing up my Telegram from YouTube. So that was weird. I'll just mute that. But moving forward, that's what we're looking at. So
gotta hide your picture.
Oh my God, Derek, if you just read that, where's my bodyguard? Where's my Coco? I'm gonna need him. But seriously, moving beyond that, I'm all flushed too. That's not good. I have to talk in public, and I'm already talking pretty fast to begin with. So how I've been using this though to stay on course is, look, I don't care what time frame we get this on. And what I'd like to do is click through a few different pairs, okay? And from there, show you what we're looking for, show you what I'm looking for. Just like anything else, can it adjust? Can it repaint? Absolutely. But we're going to get a signal from what I've experienced on the lower time frames is we get two. So for the first candle that it comes out and the second candle after it. So I'll get an alert on this candle and I'll get an alert on the following candle. And those are the ones that we get to my phone. So on those ones, what we're looking for is not just to take it because, hey, we get a signal saying on this candle is when it first happened. Oh, they're saying NZD CAD is going to sell on the daily. That's great. The next day we're going to get another one. So on the daily time frame, it hasn't been as consistent for me, and I don't know why. I did ask Uncle P, and he's looking into it. Why I'm getting two alerts on the 15-minute particularly, but not so much on the daily. I can't answer that, but I just know that that's what's happening. So when I get this alert, you can decide to look at it at the end of the day before market close. You've got swap fees if your broker charges those, or you can decide to look at it knowing that you're probably going to go to sleep tonight if you live in America and you miss London like I do. So you're going to have to pick and choose your poison in terms of how to trade the system. And there's pros and cons to every side. What I've been doing personally is I don't like the swap fees, and anybody who knows that for the most part, I've been trading mostly with Hugo's Way, just primarily because they've been super good in terms of withdrawals. They're super good in terms of customer service, although the chat isn't as fun as it used to be, admittedly. But just they've become my overall favorite broker. So they're consistent, no drama, no headache, very, very simple. And they're paying straight to my Zelle in terms of withdrawals. So that's kind of awesome. That's why I'm kind of sticking with them. So I don't have like that huge no swap fee. What I'm looking for when I get an alert is this. So I've got an alert on that candle. First and foremost, I'm not taking any entry at all until the next candles or some candles after this have now officially made a lower low. So once this happens, until I get a lower low, I'm not taking a trade at all, period, no matter what. And you can decide how you want to do that, but that's going to stop in terms of any false entries you take. As Uncle P would teach, we're putting our stop loss above structure. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be here, but that is where it would be going, is above structure. So the trade is valid until it breaks structure. And what I'm doing is I'm going for literally either a 1-to-1 or 2 times the ADR on the daily time frame. And I've been using more of this ADR than this one up here. I guess I'll have to move that out of the way so you guys can see it. So bear with me a second. But there's 2 different ADRs. And you'll notice they kind of calculate differently, and they shouldn't be in theory calculating differently. So I've been trying to compare them against the websites and even doing math on my own, but it hasn't been, I have yet to find a conclusive answer as to which one's more accurate. I just feel like they vary slightly in every direction, and neither of them are too different. So this one is saying 71 is what the ADR is for the daily time frame based off of 14 candles. This one is saying 79, and granted that's for the week. So I kind of have done the math in terms of 5 days, you know, the whole 22 days that are here, and all that other good stuff. But I have yet to see like the most accurate one in terms of compared to the websites. So I've been using more or less the average on this one right here, the top average, which just gives me that kind of rounded number, and it's simple for me. So you guys can decide if you want to use here or here, but that's what I've been doing is 2 times the ADR or 2 times the ATR, depending on which system or indicator you're using to find that information. Of course, you need your stop loss above structure. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. And in terms of looking for targets or looking for support and resistance, again, anybody who knows me or works with me knows that for the most part, I use a whole bunch of fractals. So you have 2 options to find your levels of you know, interest, your areas of interest, if you will. But either way, you can decide to do it with your fractals is one. Okay, you can just simply, if this is our current point, our next point of interest is here at the next fractal level. The next point of interest after that is here. And this is an imperfect system. This is just, these are targets that I'm looking for. So if we break here, I'd be looking to go here. If we break here, I'd be looking to go here, and consistently do that. And the same thing to the upside. So that's option number 1 in terms of finding your targets. Option number 2, this one's a little bit more accurate, just takes a little bit more time, is go to the line chart. And from where you see your peaks, this is where you're going to get your stop loss. Again, all really simple. Your stop loss will go there, but again, slightly above it. So not perfectly on it. You need to give it some breathing room, little bit of breathing room. And then find your peaks to the downside from where the price currently is. And until you break these peaks, you need to know where price is going. And this is how we would be finding where price is going. Once price breaks this target area, you can look to the next level of structure. Kind of, there's a lot of peaks up here, which is why the whole, this would be a better kind of system in terms of if you wanted to use fractals or if you wanted to use a line chart. And that literally is all I'm doing on the daily time frame, which means once a day. So to give you, does anybody have any questions in terms of that? You're talking 30 minutes of trading to compound your account. 30 minutes, that's it. Delete all. Before I click through some pairs. Let me check the chat too. Is there a video going over my compounding? Yeah, there's tons of videos. Actually, there's some on YouTube, I think, and then there's some in the group too. But which spreadsheet are you referencing specifically? The one for indices or the one for just Forex? Yes, Jared. And yes. Jonas, yeah, we can go through structure, of course. And yes, Tasha, Miss Donna can post the link to that if she would, please. Sorry, I'm just answering all the questions in the chat. So. Anybody who's not fiddling with their microphone have any other questions? You look at the ADX before getting in. Absolutely. So for the ADX, guys, I use the ADX pretty simply. I need momentum and the buyer's power to be above the 20-25 area. So if one of them is below the 20, for example, the buyers or the sellers are still below the 20, it's not a valid trade for me. If the momentum is high enough, so momentum needs to be above the 25, period, no matter what, that's what I need. I need the momentum to be above the 25. And if I'm looking for a buy, I need the buyers to be in control. So like if you wanted to analyze this trade before we picked a different pair, we got an alert on this candle. For some reason, I'm getting dual alerts on the 15-minute chart, but not so much on the daily. What's that one? I'm a little not perfect, but either way, one is really all you need anyways. So if we're getting it right here, we're still saying, okay, this is the candle in which we got in on. We need a candle that breaks above that, which doesn't really happen until, so it breaks above this current structure. Hold on. Let's see. Let me mute Prince because there's background noise. Like he's tapping his mic. Gotcha. So I need it to break above structure. And that really doesn't happen until over here. But if it was me, odds are I would have gotten in somewhere on this candle. If I had a pending order set, I would have been in here, which means I have to handle this drawdown. right? But I would be in probably on this candle, unless I was manually placing a trade and I'd see that it didn't close there. But I've been using pending orders on this, so I would have been in this trade here. So which means I have to sit through several days. What is that? Well, almost an entire 2 weeks and 2.5 weeks. So you can't, it's very expensive in terms of the swap fee, not really cost effective in terms of this trade at all, not cost effective at all. So, but that is what we'd be looking at. And again, same concept. You would have it below your, at least your most recent level, which is here on this one. So you have a tighter trade, which is nice. And then you'd be going for at least 2 times that, or 1 times that, or 2 times the ADR. That's it.
Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Woody.
I have somebody on YouTube asking, is asking, have you ever used parabolic SARs in place of fractals?
I like parabolic SARs. I do. In place of fractals, no, because they're different. They're very different. So it's been a while since I used them, and mostly we used them on that the bounce back setting, the strategy. So these were the settings we used. I'm pretty sure those are the right. I'd have to double check. They're a little faster than standard. But no, I don't use those in place of fractals because they're very different than fractals. So there are people who use it as an exit and as an entrance. And in some ways I could see how that would be an advantageous thing in terms of, here, just game it out. So let's just play it out. Let's say we took this trade, okay? Or let's put that on the right spot so we can actually talk, reasonably accurately. There you go. Well, currently the parabolic SARs are below, and of course they are below. We wouldn't get this signal at all if they weren't. So this would not even be happening. So every time that happens, they're already going to be there. So that's not really enough for me to say I trust it yet. So for me to use that as a reason to trust the signal, it's not enough. And as for me to get out of the signal, for example, if we took this one and got out here, because this flipped, okay, so that's a break even. Parabolic SARs in terms of take profit stuff equals more often break even than it does profit. So that's kind of my experience. It doesn't mean it's the experience, and maybe somebody else has better information than myself, and it's very possible. I do know some people who use it as a take profit and as a stop loss, and there are an option on the ATM to use it as a trail, which once you're in a winning trade, I can see that being beneficial. But to use it as a starting point, no, because again, there's no way you're getting this when it's not there. So I can't use it as a confirmation for entry. And as for exit, look how many times it's going to have you exit before you get to the top. It's like there's too many things that's going to have you exit. And there's too many things that are going to knock you out. So for either take profit or stop loss, I'm going to have to go with no. So just to kind of show you how that looks, I like parabolic SARs in terms of like a bounce back system. So like with Bollinger Bands, then I would like them. But other than the Bollinger Bands, like in conjunction with that, so once it breaks out of multiple sets of bands and that whole concept of overbought, oversold, come retest the 50 mentality, for that purpose, absolutely. And then for it, the continuation, absolutely. But anything else, no. I just don't think it's super valid. Does that answer their question?
I think so.
Donna, I ain't made it there yet. Oh, sorry. Okay. Grayson, can you unmute yourself? For the people who are asking in the chat, can y'all unmute yourself? Or Desiree wanted to know what we should use for a trade manager. I'm pretty sure, girly, you are in the advanced membership group. So I'm pretty sure I talked to you this morning. So you should use the ATM and you should get really good at using it. So it's awesome. And right now you get to use it for free because it's in beta testing and it does stuff that no other trade manager does. And when I say no other trade manager, I mean no other trade manager. So it's pretty awesome. It'll definitely keep, it'll, as I stutter over here, it will either keep you in based off of fractals. It'll keep you in based off of parabolic SARs. It'll keep you in based off of the cloud, based off of structure, based off of Donchian channels, chandeliers, based off of every single thing you can think of. So always, it's got so many different options. So we can use that as a trade manager. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right now.
Fantastic. How can I help you?
Yes. I've been watching like hundreds of tutorials on YouTube, and I'm still blowing my accounts. So like, is there anything like, okay, is there any secret to this Forex?
The secret to the Forex is rules. So have you
The
done,
rules.
okay, so have you done one thing 50 times? Any one strategy at all, ever?
Like any one strategy. Okay, I've been doing copy and paste trading, but it's not actually working out for me.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Okay, I'm trying to use other people's style of trading, but it's not working out.
Okay.
Like any tutorial I watch on YouTube, I try to apply that on my account and nothing is working.
Okay, so my question to you is if I gave you a strategy right now, can you do it 50 times? As in, like, do the same thing 50 times. You're not allowed to change anything, you're not allowed to do anything different. But have you done any one strategy 50 times in a row to get an accurate pool of trades to see if it works or not?
Not yet. So
When you pick a strategy, let's say you follow, Joe Blow from YouTube and he's awesome and he's got your attention and you see his strategy and it works really, really good. When you do his style or whatever that strategy is, how many trades that way are you taking?
oh, let's see. I've never heard of that person.
Oh, that was just an expression.
That's her boyfriend.
This is the first Zoom meeting I've
Well,
joined.
welcome. Welcome. We play around a lot here, so welcome.
All right, thank you.
I know that's a bad name for a boyfriend, huh?
I know, right? So bad. Okay, so either way, so even if no matter whose strategy it is, the first thing I would tell you, the secret is most people hear somebody like me or hear somebody else and they think, wow, she makes it look easy. Or wow, this person does that. I can do that. Wow, this does that. And then they do it twice. They do it 5 times. They risk their whole account and they have no management, no rules. They have nothing, right? And then they quit on that. So even if I gave you this system or a really good system that has 90 some odd percent accuracy, it takes you 50, 150, 250 different trades until you even have the system down. But to be honest, most people quit on any one strategy or any one indicator before they even get to 50 trades. So most people never even learn what does work and what doesn't work at all. So they've quit, they move around, they play, and then they go find something else and they fail at that too because they've become an expert at nothing. They're like that jack of all trades becomes an expert at none, right? He knows nothing. That's the problem. So if there's one tip and trick, it's going to be that. Is I don't care if it's this strategy or using the scanner. I don't care if it's the advanced membership group or maybe just simplicity. I don't care if it's basic overbought, oversold, or really any one strategy that you can follow 50 times in a row. It'll be worth following. But you have to start somewhere.
All right.
Jenny, can we look at structure?
Yeah, of course. Do you want to go over structure? Well, here, does anybody else have any other questions in terms of this day trading thing? Anybody at all? Before I go on, Jonas, I promise you.
Did that previous gentleman really capture what you were asking him to do? Because it seemed like he was kind of frustrated.
He did. I don't know. Grayson, are you there? Grayson, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
What she's really asking you to do is set up like a demo account and look at one strategy and just do it over and over and over again and just check it out and see what happened. And when you do something 50 or 100 times, you'll get a feel for how that particular trade is happening. And then you'll have more of a chance of realizing what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And then you can use more logic to become a successful trader. That's what she's getting at when asking you to try to use a particular strategy that number of times. Understand, sir?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And one more question. Do you guys...
Go ahead. I think we lost you.
We lost you, sir.
No, like I'm asking, how much do you charge for strategies?
Me? How much do I change strategies? So I have made most of my money with the same strategy for what, almost a year and a half now.
No, he said, how much do you
He
charge?
said, how much do you charge?
Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Sorry.
Only Barbara charges.
Yeah, she no. So anything I teach on these calls is totally free to the Super EZ membership group. It's free to the public. That's free. And then in the advanced membership group, we do go over kind of the really fast, very fast strategy, as well as with some custom indicators. So we do have that, and that's, I think it's $69 a month to be part of the advanced membership group. But for now, it might be a good idea for you to kind of stay right here and maybe practice with what did you purchase from Super EZ? Was it the scanner or was it Simplicity? Are you there?
He texts the scanner.
Okay, gotcha. So if you have the scanner, then start with this. You can choose between the 15-minute, 5-minute. You can choose any time frame you want. I've been pretty content with the really smaller time frames. They just take a lot of management. And then the daily. I haven't done any of the 1 hour or 4 hour as of yet, but that's kind of what I've been focusing on. And this will not only give you alerts, it's like you'll get an alert of when to enter. However, you do need some basic rules. You can't just enter because you feel like it. So even if we pop down to the 5-minute time frame, and this is a very slow moving pair, so this is not ideal, but we're going to keep it on here to be real, right? We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for accuracy and honesty. So even on this pair right here, not ideal for scalping, 5-minute time frame, right? So you guys can all see that. When we get a signal, so I'll drop a vertical line of where we got the signal, you'll get an alert, if this is during your scheduled trading hours. You're not going to take the trade just because you get an alert. You're going to take it when you make a lower low. So for example, in this case, or a higher high, you don't make a higher high until here is when you're really breaking above this area. That happens on this candle. And if you come down to the bottom, and even if you're only using the ADX, which is, yes, standard in MT4, it's standard on most trading platforms as well, you're waiting for momentum to kind of be up. You need the momentum to be to the plus side. You also need the buyers to be in control. If they're just floating like this, it's consolidating. It's not going anywhere. We don't want to be stuck in a choppy market. To the best of our ability, and we're still very human, we don't want to be entering in consolidation. So we'd be waiting till around here anyhow, which matches kind of the analysis. And then again, you take it up for the ADR. You can do one time the ADR. If you are scalping, if you're going for swing trades, you can go a little bit more. But one time the ADR is hit almost every single time. So of course, that's a winning trade. We know that. Now let's take a look at this other one where we get this signal here. We got the signal here. So the dot is representing that it is what Uncle P is calling an evidence dot. So how you would know you would avoid this trade is very, very, very simple. This literally has a fractal on it. So that candle closed there, which means we do not make a lower low. There's no reason for us to enter this trade. No candle coming afterwards breaks this low. It does not happen. So we avoid that losing trade. And for those of you who use the ADX, you can see the momentum is pointing down. It's below the 25 for sure. And everything looks really choppy. It's really stuck down here. Nothing is really pointing up at that time. So we know that we're coming into this period of nothingness. We don't want to trade there. So again, kind of coming to the last one because we're here, we may as well. So we're going to come here. We got an alert on this candle. So this was the opening candle. Obviously, there was some gaps and some filling of the gap and a bunch of noise. But if this is the candle we got it on for a sell, we don't make lower lows. Okay, it doesn't happen. And we don't trade at this time anyways. That's session crossover. We never trade at that moment. Well, you shouldn't be trading at that moment in theory, but everything is in theory. And if you do this, so I don't know what your schedule looks like or where you live, but if you do just that, maybe on the 15-minute time frame, and choose to pick 4 to 7 pairs, and only take trades that break out, which means once you get the signal, it needs to break above. And whatever oscillators your eyes see best or other indicators you want to add that your eyes see best, that's how you'll decide to take the trade. Do that for 50 trades. And I will personally drag and drop each one of your trades, losing or not, onto the screen. So I will go over every single trade with you one by one. So I volunteer in public. Everything I say is, recorded for future purposes. So I personally will do that. But you've got to go out and go find me 50 trades where I can actually drag and drop them and say, hey, I followed the rules and here's what I'm experiencing. So we know that if it's a you issue, if it's a your management issue, if it's maybe you're trading, during session crossover, this is a horrible time to trade. We don't trade in this period of time. And most people who do, they lose their butts. Maybe you're over leveraging. So you're using these huge lot sizes that your account can't manage. Maybe that's the issue, but we don't know what the issue is. We don't know if it's the strategy, if it's the timing, if it's the pairs and then your lot sizes, or maybe your stop loss is so tight that you get knocked out on every trade that you would have won. We don't know. So until you have a pool of 50 trades, we can't even help you grow as a person to get to the next level. If that makes any sense. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got those instructions pretty clearly?
Yeah. Okay. But I've done risk management, everything to do with that. I only use, let's say 0.01 as my lot size, depending on the, maybe binary, not that much, but when it comes to currency pairs, I only use 0.01. So it actually takes time for me to blow my account.
Okay, but what's your account balance?
Right now, I was using just Forex and I just blew one of my account today. So it's 0.
Okay. Well, a 0.01 on a $50 account is kind of big if you're using leverage that has 50 to 1 leverage. So how much your lot size is, like you can have a 10.0 on the right size account with the right size leverage, and that's still not over risking it. But you can have a 1.0 with the wrong leverage on the wrong size account, and that can be 10 times more than what you're supposed to be trading. So it's really, that's a very individual thing. That's based off of what your account currency is based out of. Mine is based out of the US dollars. Some people's account currencies are based off of GBP. My current brokers are mostly 500 to 1. I do have one that if I decide to swing trade again, I will do AFX, which is AFX, has 2,000 to 1 leverage. I have had some that have 50 to 1, and I have had some that have 1,000 to 1. So there's so many variables in there. Me knowing what lot size you use doesn't help answer if it's a margin call. So if you only have a $20 account on a 0.01, yeah, that's over risking. If you have a $200 account with 50 to 1 leverage, even that is kind of pushing it. So there's too many variables. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So make sure that you have at least $50 to $100 in an account that has preferably 500 to 1 leverage, because anything less, and I kind of joke about it a little bit directly, and I say that if you're trading with less than 500 to 1 leverage, you're honest to God going to make more money tonight driving for Uber with no skill set than you are kind of playing in the market because you don't know what you're doing yet. And the odds are it's going to be a lot of hit and miss, and a lot more miss than hit.
Can I
Right.
make a
What's the best leverage for beginners?
500 to 1. Well, 2001 is great, but most of those have spreads that are way too high. And I love them for the purpose of swing trading, but the spread is so high, it's kind of emotional to get you. So this is a 2001 leverage. See how big and fat that spread is? That's a big spread. So it takes you longer to get into profit. So I would say 500 to 1.
Grayson,
Okay.
can I make a recommendation for you, sir?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Get a demo account, demo with like $200 or $500, and act like it's real money and do the 50 trades, just like Jenny said. And whether you win or lose, come back next 2 weeks and share it with her. But no need to burn real money like I used to do until you really understand or get a feel for what you're doing. But use your demo account like it's real money. Does that make sense?
All right. Yes. So
If you want to burn
emotions
real
away
money,
and everything to do with that.
yeah, if you want to burn real money, you could just cash at me and send it to me. But
We'll DM you the address.
but seriously,
right.
just get a demo account. If you're confused and you're trying different things, just get a demo account, sir. But take it serious. Don't just look at it as
All
play
right.
money, and really seriously trade.
All right.
And then come back in 2 weeks, and I guarantee you, when Jenny analyzes your trades, your eyes will open up.
All right. So how am I going to get in contact with you guys? So because I don't have any of your email addresses, your contact numbers, maybe if you're on WhatsApp or something to do with that.
In 2 weeks from now, we will have the same session, same time, same place.
All right.
And honestly, sweetie, so if
Okay.
you're in the Super EZ group, you have access to all of us. So we're all in there. That's where you found us.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right. Anybody other than Jonas? Go ahead, Donna.
Hey, I got on YouTube a few questions for you.
Okay.
Antoine is asking, what are the best times to trade? And second question is, what are the general rules for trading with the fractals?
I have a fractal break strategy that I use on the 1 hour, but that's different. So that's a different strategy that I want to go over tonight. Maybe I can do a video on it. It's fairly simple. You add a couple of oscillators and some evidence pieces, and then just take trades in the direction of the trend. I use them the exact opposite as the way most people uses them, but I love it and it works. So the general rules for trading is kind of a really in-depth question. First off, I think rule number one is have rules, have a trading journal. So I don't care
No,
what
trading, general rules for trading with the fractals is what he was asking.
Oh, okay. I was like, that's a really in-depth question. I don't think I have all night. So that's
for that.
okay. So for the fractals, I already answered that. And then the first question was what?
Best times to trade.
Oh, New York. New York. I think New York. Well, I say New York because I live in America. If I lived in London and my children were all grown, or I was traveling abroad, I would probably say London. London has the most volume. If you're kind of skipping that open, London open when it jumps, we all know that people capitalize off of that immensely, but I don't live there and I can't consistently maintain a London-based trading schedule. I can get up and do it for a little while, but then anything, if I can do it great for 2 weeks and then fail, exponentially, I have cost myself not only money, but I've cost myself physical and mental and emotional stress. It takes you weeks to get back into a healthy routine and it's not worth it. So I stopped trying to be the jack of all trades and I decided to get really good at New York. And that is what I did. So New York, London crossover has a lot of volume. Also, I actually moved across the country to Florida, which has a slightly better time zone than Colorado, where I'm originally from. So that's when I would be trading, is kind of that New York, London crossover. If you live in America. Now, if you have access and ability to not lose your mind, but consistently trade London for 2 to 3 hours, my first choice would be London, but I can't keep that long term. So that's not an option for me. So were those the only 2 questions, Donna?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay, anybody else? And then I'm going to Jonas. Actually, I'm going to probably turn the recording off and we'll do an actual kind of structure. Jonas, are you going to share your screen? Because I promised you, and then we've kind of been hit and miss for the last few weeks.
Do you want me to share my screen? I need to hide the indicators then. Just give me a
Oh,
second.
no, then here, we'll leave it on mine and we'll set up a naked chart. So
Yeah.
that's what we'll do. Okay,
Thanks.
awesome. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and stop the live recording if it will let me. And so stop stream.